Alright guys, today I'm going to be talking about what everybody wants to hear about. How high can PulseChain go? How big can your bags pump? And just what's the potential in terms of how much money can you make in this whole thing, right? So PulseChain's about to launch in a couple of months. Everyone's really excited about it. People that missed the sacrifice phase are having crazy FOMO. And people just want to know, hey, how rich am I going to get? Right? But before I go any farther, I just want to lay down a couple of rules. If you're new here and you haven't been in the community for a while, you have to realize that the only real money in crypto is made by holders and founders. And we're talking about long-term holders on a yearly timescale. Okay, so you have to have the greater vision to see past just a couple of weeks. And if you're in this for a quick flip of a 1.5 or 2 or 3x, you're really missing the big picture on how life-changing wealth can be created in cryptocurrency. So you got to realize that time in the market always beats time in the market. Don't overthink things. And people that have just sat on their hands, like with Hex, for example, that have just staked for the past 2 years, they are up massively on their investments, and there's still years and years left of potential in Hex. So Hex encourages that good behavior by staking, right, to actually hold up the price, and so you don't actually FUD yourself out of your own bags. There's a lot of volatility in crypto, but the price that you pay for those mad gains is crazy, crazy volatility, guys. So you have to be willing to have the stomach to withstand this kind of thing and just hold for a long time, not only because of the capital gains tax advantages after 1 year, it becomes long-term capital gains, right, instead of short-term, but because there's so much potential. And if you can just withstand the volatility. So instead of staring at the charts all day, while you're just sitting around and holding PulseChain and waiting for it to go up, it actually unlocks all of your time and frees you from being a slave to the charts, and it allows you to go do other things like promote Hex and PulseChain in whatever way that you want to, with whatever skill set you might have. And it gives you the opportunity to go out there and pump your own bag. And it doesn't have to be creating a YouTube channel. It could just be liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing this one, to help make PulseChain go viral, or doing whatever skill set that you have in your real day-to-day life and applying that to promoting this revolutionary paradigm-shifting cryptocurrency as a layer 1 blockchain and helping with the network effects of this whole thing. Because as we know, network effects is how the growth of PulseChain scales and how the price of PulseChain scales with that network effect. The more people using PulseChain, PLS is the gateway drug to get in. They need it for gas and everything on top of PulseChain, like all the smart contracts. And so the price will also scale with network effects as well. So what we're going to do is just really simply look at a lot of other layer 1 blockchains that have existed in the past year or 2 or 3 even. And we're just going to look at what they did and try to make a projection about what PulseChain could potentially do. Again, I am not a fortune teller. This is not financial advice, but we're just going to look at the potential of how high PulseChain could go. Right, so let's get right into it, guys. By no means am I promoting any of these blockchains. I have no idea what half of these even do. And I assume half of them are just unused, empty, ghost blockchains with no usage. Again, the real revolution about Pulse is that you're getting all your coins copied over, right? So you're going to start from day one with useful coins on PulseChain. Like all your ERC20s are being copied. And that's why PulseChain is the world's largest airdrop, because you're going to start with all your coins, unlike all these other empty blockchains that really are just ghost towns, right? So imagine the virality that PulseChain can achieve. If these empty blockchains have achieved so much in this amount of time, just imagine what can happen with a literal clone of Ethereum that's cheap and fast like it was supposed to be. Okay, so AVAX did a 5,596% in 329 days. BNB did a 3,265% rise in 245 days. And again, I have this starting from here because this was the date in September 2020 where Binance actually launched the Binance Smart Chain. So I didn't take the full history because Binance Smart Chain didn't exist until this date. Still a pretty crazy run up from that day, right? Solana did a 123,247% rise in 574 days. Luna did a 100,641% rise in 658 days. Phantom did a 221,089% rise in 595 days. Atom, which I think is Cosmos, did a 4,005% rise in 553 days. These are all being measured from bottom to top, right? Just to pick a uniform metric by which to measure them. And then CeeLo, I know nothing about this one at all. It did a 1,322% rise in 469 days. Okay, so what can we do there? Well, we can do some simple math and just average them all together and just see what we could expect and maybe project that out for PulseChain. So here, guys, I've got all these 7 layer 1s that I just talked about. I took their percentage gain. I calculated that into the number of X's that they each made. And then I also took the number of days, right? And so that averages out to an average of 657X in an average of 489 days. 489 days is about 1.4 years, guys. So for an average of holding these things for 1.4 years, people made a 657X, right? Now, obviously, we have to be realistic and remember that people don't buy the exact bottom and sell the exact top. So if you played everything perfectly, your average would be a 657X in 1.4 years for these 7 coins, okay? But let's imagine you're a real person, you can't predict the exact top and bottom perfectly, but even if you captured only half of that X, okay, only half of that price rise, that's still over a 300x that you're looking at in 1.4 years of just sitting around and watching your investments go up, right? The potential in crypto is insane for this reason alone, right? We could use different metrics, right? Average might not be the best. Maybe we want to do median, and median, being really conservative would get you a 57x. So hey, still pretty awesome, but let's go back to the average. And now guys, I want to stress one more time that people don't get these gains without holding, right? If you try to sell at the first pump, right? If you're holding your SOL and you held it here and then you held it all the way back down to $1. So if you held it from $5 to $1, think about this without the rest of the chart here. Think about if you were only able to see this much, right? As time is going on, you're thinking, oh crap, I lost 50%, right? This is where you need to see the bigger picture of these things, guys. Is PulseChain going to die? If you think PulseChain is literally just going to fail and die, then when PulseChain dips 50%, which it probably will at some point, then go ahead, sell your whole bag, get out, because this is probably not for you. You have to understand the volatility, right? You have to understand how volatile these things are. And when your bag goes from $4.60 down to $1.30, a lot of people think the sky is falling. I'm sorry, it actually went down to $1 exactly. So you got a 75% dip here, and a lot of people got shook out of their own bag, okay? A lot of people faked themselves out, and they lost out all the opportunity that came after this. See what I mean, guys? So think about it from that perspective and just really take a step back. Don't watch the charts every day. And when you see a negative 80% dip or 50% dip, look at that as an opportunity rather than panicking and freaking out and just trying to get out of this whole thing. So that's the thing about crypto, guys. The more you can just chill, take a step back, go outside, go use this time to network and actually promote your bag rather than just sit there with your finger on the trade button. Traders always lose, guys. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, okay? And the traders that lose, they lose a lot more than the tiny, tiny segment of traders that actually win, right? And it takes up all their time. They're staring at the screen. They sacrifice their health and relationships and loved ones around them because they're spending all their time trying to time the market. And as we know, guys, you need to take a long-term investing mindset. That's what we've always preached in Hacks, and that goes for PulseChain as well. The only people that are going to win in PulseChain are the people with the long-term vision to see the bigger picture and to hold this for a long time and never truly exit your position and kill the golden goose. You know what I mean? So I hope you learned something on this video. I'm going to be doing a live stream in the next couple of days, so you can ask me whatever you want to ask me and talk to me directly, and I'll see you guys later.